injuries are becoming an increasingly concerning part of rugby, from grassroots right up to the professional game. Tonight, the friend of a former rugby player who took his own life at the age of 37 after experiencing a series of concussions is calling for the game to do more to protect players. Andrew Watkins was a lifelong friend of Kai Trahan, a former Pontypool player who died in 2016. He says the game's been too slow to address the issue of head injuries. The WRU says its sincere sympathies are with those involved, and it's constantly innovating and evolving to make rugby safer. Well, our correspondent Richard Morgan has tonight's top story.
He, I suppose, sadly became a little bit of a recluse. He stopped going out, he became very quiet, he struggled sleeping, and he became sort of devoutly religious, which was just, that wasn't him.
When Andrew thinks about his friend Kai, he mostly remembers someone who was outgoing and positive. But he also reflects on the toll taken on Kai by playing rugby. The former Pontypool back rower suffered a number of serious concussions during his playing career and felt the consequences in his other career as a gas fitter.
I suppose one of the most notable ones for me is that he was working on his boiler, connecting up, and he was absolutely dumbfounded that he'd connected his hot water to his gas. He just couldn't get his head around it, and he became increasingly agitated and stressed about not being able to carry out and complete routine works, to the point that he decided he had to leave his job.
Kai, seen here on the top left, even checked himself into a mental health unit, but sadly his condition deteriorated.
He hadn't slept for 4 days. He was sort of really struggling with anxiety, couldn't switch off. He didn't even want me to be there. I sort of forced myself upon him to be there, just because I just thought it just didn't seem right to me. And probably 2-3 days after that, he took his life.
Kai died 8 years ago, but Andrew and others warn that some still aren't taking the issue of head injuries seriously enough. Gwyn organises rugby competitions in Gwent. He says concussion protocols, including mandatory 3-week layoffs, are enforced, but some still try to bend the rules.
Junior rugby in particular, you'll find that parents are reluctant to take their child off after they've had a bang on the head. In some of the competitions that we've had discussions with coaches. They said, well, does he have to go off? But in anything under professional rugby, there is no head injury assessment. It's recognise and remove, and if you're in doubt, sit him out for 21 days, because the after effects can be relentless.
Bedwas Barbarians Rugby Club have had a few recent concussions. The physio says withstanding pressure to push players back into action is part of the job.
We do have pressure, and at the end of the day, I go back down to the rules. The rules are the rules. They're there to be stood by, and you just got to stand by the rules. It doesn't matter what the coach says. We really got to focus on the player, nobody else.
The Welsh Rugby Union said in a statement that we work hard on providing education throughout the community game on concussion protocols, and we strongly implore everyone involved to adopt our if in doubt, sit them out policy. We proactively offer support around concussion management. We also provide free first aid in rugby courses to all clubs with concussion education embedded. There are a number of new resources we've brought out this season which are available on the WRU website. Meanwhile, Andrew says he remains a rugby fan, but hopes Kai's story can help prevent future needless deaths.
I don't think anyone really appreciated how much he was struggling. But the only option is to sort of try and use this to raise awareness. I and Kai's family certainly wouldn't want any person to go through what they've gone through.